Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Carolina and today I'm going to show you how to create these two beautiful tops from zero, because the best part about today's tutorial is that you don't even need a pattern for that, you just need to take your own measurements. So for today's sewing project we are just going to need a tailor's tape, some pins, fabric scissors, an elastic tape, your fabric of choice with some matching threads of course, and your sewing machine. And about the quantity of fabric that you're going to need, it directly depends on your measurements and on how short or long you want your top to be. So I'm going to show you in a minute how to draft your pattern so you can figure that out too. And even though we are going to make two different tops, the pattern is basically the same, so we just need to draft one pattern and then we are just going to make some little adjustments to that so that we can create one top or another. So I think we can start with our sewing project, and I'm going to show you now how to draft your pattern. Okay, so here it is, a little scheme on how you can draft your own pattern based on your own measurements. So basically we are just going to draw a big rectangle in which the longest side is given by the result of our breast circumference divided by 2 plus 30 cm, while the shorter side is given by the final length we want our top to be. We will have to add a few centimeters for the hem, and in my case I added 2 centimeters because I want a fairly thin hem, but of course you do you, and if you want your hem to be a little larger you just have to add more centimeters. And then we're going to add more centimeters to create the tunnel for the elastic to pass through, and in my case I added another 3 centimeters because I'm using an 8 millimeters elastic. So just for reference, this is what my pattern measurements look like. If you don't know how many centimeters you need to add for your elastic tunnel, you can just basically fold your elastic in the fabric like I'm doing here, and you just want to be sure that there is still a little space to sew it. And you can then mark it and unfold the fabric and measure it so you will know exactly how many centimeters you need. And the same applies to the hem. You just have to decide whether you want your hem to be thinner or wider by making a test on the fabric. Then you can just mark it and unroll the fabric, and so you can measure it and you have your centimeters that you need to add. Okay, so this is our pattern on paper, and now I'm going to show you how to create the first top, which is the strapless one. And basically we just want to cut two rectangles from the pattern that we just created, and for today's tutorial I'm going to use this beautiful striped cotton. And since our top has also an elasticated band behind the breast, we are also going to cut other two rectangles that we will use to create the tunnel for the elastic. So these rectangles will have just the exact length of the pattern, and they will be 3 cm high. The height of these rectangles directly depend on the thickness of your elastic. So like I'm using an 8 mm elastic, so if you are using an 8 mm or 1 cm you'll be fine with 3, but if your elastic has more thickness you might want to increase the height just to be sure that at the end the elastic can pass through the tunnel. So we have all our pieces cutted, and so we have the two rectangles for the tunnel of the elastic, and then we have the other two rectangles for the top. And I'm just going to quick iron them before starting to sew, and I'll see you at the sewing machine in a second. We are now going to join the two rectangles together, and since I don't want to have any visible seams on the inside, I'm also going to teach you how to make a French seam to join the two rectangles. So it's very simple. All we have to do is to put one rectangle on top of the other, and If your fabric has a good side and a bad side, you just want to be sure that the wrong side are facing each other when making this step, so that the good part of the fabric is facing you. And then we are going to pin all along the height of the top on the both sides. And now we just want to sew all along this line and this line. And because we are going to make a French seam, in this case I'm just going to leave a 5mm of margin, so I'm gonna sew pretty close to the edge of the fabric. We're just going to cut the excess of fabric from both sides. As you can see, we want to cut pretty close to the seams, but of course not too much, so I will just tell you to leave like 2 or 3 millimeters from the seam. Now we can flip the top so that the inside will be facing us, and we are just going to iron this part before sewing it again together. So at the end we will be sewing again along this line and everything will be so beautiful from the inside. Going to sew all along this line again. This is the outside of your top and this is the inside, and we want to sew all along this part. I'm still sew pretty close to the edge, like 5 millimeters will be fine again, because we just cutted the fabric at 2 or 3 millimeters, so with 5 millimeters all the raw edges will stay inside the seam. So this is our top from the inside, and as you can see it's a super clean finish, and it's honestly my favorite way to finish the edges of the fabric, because it also prevents from fraying in the future. So this will be the inside and this is the outside. Super clean, I love it. So now we just have to create the upper tunnel for the elastic, and to do it we just need to trace on the fabric the centimeter that we calculated before, which again they depend on the thickness of your elastic. So for me it was about 2 centimeters, and I'm just going to do a final check with the elastic before starting to sew. Okay, so I've just marked 3 centimeters from the upper part of the fabric, and I'm just going to fold it like about 5 millimeters, and then again until the line that I traced. And now I'm just going this final check, so the elastic will go inside this part, and as you can see it's enough for my elastic, so I can just keep ironing it, keeping this dimension. So then I'm going to sew all the tunnel. are now going to sew all along this line, and we are going to start here, sew all along, and then when we are coming here we are just stopping a little bit before the end, because we are going to leave a little gap that is where we are going to pull the elastic through. So we are going to close this gap afterward. Okay, so now considering that our top will start around here, we just want to determine where to put the second elastic band. So I'm going to measure starting from here until our design length. So I'm going for 15 centimeters, and so we just need to mark this length on the inside of the top, so it will guide us later when we will be sewing the elastic tunnel. Now we just want to create the actual tunnel with the two rectangles that we cut it earlier, and to do it we just want to sew them together along one of the two short sides first. Now with the help of the iron we are going to fold them this way, and we are going to iron them lengthwise. Okay, and so now we will have something that look like this on the outside, and we can sew it on the inside of the top following the line that we drew previously. So I'm going to position the tunnel at the beginning of the line. We're going to sew it pretty close to the edge, and this time we're going to sew from start to finish without leaving any gap. Okay, now that we are close to the end, as you can see, we will have some excess of fabric, so I'm just going to cut it like so. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to fold the final part like this, and then again like this. So at the end the results will be super clean with no raw edges, and I keep sewing until the end. I'm going to do the same thing with the other edge of the tunnel, and this time we are going to leave a little gap, just as we did with the upper elastic tunnel. So we are going to start at the very beginning and follow all along the tunnel, and then at the end we are going to leave this little gap so that later we can make the elastic pass through the tunnel. Okay, so and now we simply have to take our elastic. We are going to put it around our upper bust, and we want it to be tight but not too much, otherwise after a while of wearing the top it could bother us. So I think I'm fine like this. So this is my upper elastic, and then we are going to do the same for the second elastic. Oops. So I will cut it here. Okay, so now we just need to insert the two elastics inside the tunnel that we just created, and you just want to be careful because we don't want to invert the two elastics because the length are slightly different, so just be careful about that. And to do it, I'm just going to use a safety pin like this one, which I'm going to insert it on one side of the elastic like this, and on the other side I will put a clip so that this will help me keeping the elastic outside the fabric as I'm going to insert it inside the tunnel. Okay, now we just want to be sure that the elastic doesn't flip as we went through the tunnel. And now we are just going to pin them together. And now we can sew them together using a zigzag stitch. Now we just want to repeat the same step for also the other elastic. Now we just want to close the little gap that we left both on the upper part and on the second elastic. So we are going to put our sewing machine back to straight stitches. We basically just need to hem our top, and I suggest you to try it on before doing the hem, just in case you want it a little bit shorter, and we are basically done. Have our first top done. I think it's so cute, so summery, and really Pinterest style to me. So we are now moving into the second top, which just has one elasticated bed instead of two, and it also has some bows on the shoulder. I'm going to use this beautiful stripped cotton again, but this time in blue, and we are going to cut again 2 rectangles using the same pattern that we used before, and we are also going to cut 4 more rectangles for the shoulder straps. This time I want to make the straps quite thin, so I will cut 4 rectangles about 50 cm long and 3 cm wide, but of course if you decide to make it shorter or wider, you can just adjust the dimensions to your preferences. Everything is cutted, and we have 2 big rectangles and other 4 little rectangles, and at this point the steps are basically the same as for the strapless top, so we can just follow them again, and I'll see you later where I will show you how to make the straps for the shoulder bows. And of course we just don't want to create the second elasticated channel. Okay, so now we have something that looks like this, and we just want to make the straps for the bows. So to do that, we just want to transform a rectangle like this into something like this, and to do it we just need to use our iron. So we just need to take our rectangle and fold it like this, and then again until we have something like this, and now we are going to press it, and we are going to repeat this step for all the length of the rectangle and for all the other 3 remaining rectangles that we have left. And then when we are at the end of one of the 2 sides, we want to open it and press it like this. And then we can close it again. And in that way we won't have any raw edges at the end of the strap, and we are going to do it also only for one side, because the other one it can stay like this, because it's going to be hidden inside the fabric anyway. And now that we have our 4 straps ironed, we just want to sew all along this line. Okay, now we just have to determine where to put the bows. So to do it, we just want to put on our top, and yes, I'm going to put it on this dress because whatever. And I'm just going to use 2 clips to keep the straps in place. Okay, so we can just take off the top now, and we are going to mark on the inside of the top where we are going to position the strap. We just want to take like this measure from the side of the top to the bows, so that we know that we have to repeat this same distance on the back as well, to position the bows on the in the right place, so that they can match with the front bows. I have about 10 centimeters from this side and also about 10 centimeters from the other side, so they are okay. And I'm just going to mark with the fabric pencil here, so I know that I have to position my bows in this place. And then I'm going to do the same on the back. I'm just going to mark 10 centimeters from the side. Now we want to partly undo the elastic tunnel that we created, because we are just going to undo from here to here, just because we can create the space to insert our bows. And now we want to cut the excess thread, and now we can take our strap and we are going to insert the not finished side of it. Also we can cut also this thread, and we're going to insert it inside the gap that we just created by unpicking the stitches. And we're going to hold it with the clips or with just regular pins, and we're going to repeat this step for all the 4 bows. So now we can just go to the sewing machine and sew along here until we close again the tunnel for all the 4 bows, of course. Once we are done, we want to flip the strap, and we are also going to sew along this line on the upper part of the top just to secure it a little more, and it will give a more beautiful look from the outside. So it is now like this on the inside and like this on the outside, and we are done. And here we have our second top ready to be worn all summer long, and I love this style so much as well, also because I'm always in for garments that have bows. So in my opinion this is such a cute top to have. So yeah, we have now these 2 new beautiful tops that I think are so versatile to have in your wardrobe. I've already made them in the past and wore them on multiple occasions, especially during summer. And what I like the most about these tops is that they are completely customizable. So like you can just decide to add bows on the first model, or vice versa, make the second one strapless. You can make it shorter, a little bit longer, and you can even decide to add more elastics to the bust, just in case you want it to be more fitted on your bust and waist area, which I think it's so cool, because if you can customize a model that much, you can really make it truly yours. So you're going to love it for years to come. As always, thank you so much for staying with me until the end of this video, and I would love to see your creations, so please consider tagging me on Instagram and let me know below which one of the 2 models you like the most. So we are now at the very end of this video, and as always I wish you're having a beautiful day, and I hope to see you into my next video. Bye!